Today's topic is the customized MyQ panel experience. To me, this is one of my favorite features of MyQ. This is one of our biggest differentiators, in my opinion. So I really want to use this. We're going to build on this series as we go. We've got the next 6 planned through June, various topics, but this is going to be one of the core topics that we always build off of. Just a reminder during the webinar today, if you've got a question, put it in the Q&A function. That helps me keep it organized. That helps me follow up later if I have to answer after the meeting. If it goes into the chat window, it's kind of maybe not. I'm going to take a look at that during the meeting, but just making sure your question, if it goes into the Q&A, that really helps me out. So without further ado, let's look at a few challenges. This was based on some feedback I received from one of our partners. You do a real good job of showing us all these things, but what does it mean to my end customer? Why is it important to my end customer? So each presentation, I'm going to try and present 2 or 3, maybe 4 challenges of how this applies to your customer and why it's important to them. Here's how you can sell this feature to them, essentially. So number 1, customer says, the device panel seems overwhelming. There's too many icons. I don't understand their purpose. I don't need all these icons on the panel of the device. It's just making things more difficult. It's confusing to me. How can we streamline this panel to make it easier for me? So that's one item we're going to look at. There are too many touches required. I don't need to see every function of the device. Think about the copy function. I just need to make a simple copy. Number of pages, number of copies, simplex, duplex, monochrome, or color. That's all I'm worried about. I don't need to see inserting and overlay and all these high contrast and sharpness. I don't need to see all that. I just need a simple, easy button. So we're going to address that challenge. I need a dedicated button that performs a pre-configured task when I select it. Folks maybe have a process they do every day or once a week, very monotonous. They don't want to have to go and turn on, I need 600 DPI, PDF, monochrome. They want a button that's pre-configured with all those options. We're going to look at that. Last challenge here. The address book is cluttered with so many entries. There's too many things in there. I just really need to see the items that are relevant to me, that are important to me. It's all about me. Me. I want this to work for me. And that's what we're talking about with a customized experience. Customized down to an end user, an individual, or to a group of users for your organization, maybe. So these are the different challenges we want to address. Let me move over, rearrange my windows here a little bit. And I'm going to share the panel of my device. So hang on one second. All right, you get this window back. Teams has so many windows, you have to move around when you're doing a meeting. Okay, so this is the panel of my device at home. So at home, I have an A4 MFP. You're looking at this window. You are with me in my home office. We are all standing in front of the panel of my device right now. It's asking me to log in. Core function of MyQ, users do have to log into the panel of the device. We can log in with a PIN number. That's kind of what's prompting me for now. I've got the virtual keyboard or keypad. I've got the physical keypad represented here in this virtual simulator as well. Users can authenticate with the proximity card. So if they've got a badge, if they've got a key fob, those are all options to authenticate. We can do username and password. Most folks are not going to like that, but it is an option. You can use a QR code. So there's the complimentary MyQ mobile app where a user could walk up, scan this QR code, and then using their phone, guess I should actually hold up a phone while I'm pretending to have one. They can unlock the panel of the device using that. So many different ways to authenticate into the application. You see right here, your logo here. The panel can be customized. Where they walk up, they see their company logo. Just gives them an extra touch that it's personalized for them. So I'm going to log in with my PIN number, 1205. When I do that, I see Robbie Morris. In this case, we've got a quota turned on. We're going to talk about quotas probably in 2 or 3 months. I can't remember exactly which part of the series, but that's part of the series that's planned out in the first 6. It's quotas. So if you're interested in quotas, be sure to come back for that one. This now becomes the panel of the device. So versus the traditional home screens that the OEMs, the different manufacturers have, we take the user here first. And this is where we control the user experience. All these icons can be customized. They can be rearranged. I can change the order of them. The title of all these can be customized. I can literally label this button exactly what I want it to say so that it's meaningful for my end users. The color scheme can be changed. The icons can be changed. Completely customizable. In this case, we've got a print all button. So I have 2 jobs held and waiting, another feature of MyQ, the print and hold capability. So I send a job, the software holds it, and then releases it at the device I'm at. If I want to view my jobs, I could click this icon. Here's my presentation from earlier today. Maybe I need a couple additional copies of it. I can choose this icon, and here I can come in and say, I need 4 copies of this presentation. I wanted to make any simple changes, color, duplex, things like that, and then print that job. So you have the ability to release all your jobs at once, or you can pick individual jobs if you wish. Let's come back. Tap to register your ID card. A lot of organizations, they maybe have door access control or garage entry system. They don't have that data already in a source that we can synchronize from, like Active Directory, for example. So if a user logs in with their PIN number, they could tap this icon, and then they place their ID card to the reader on their device. I'll literally do that for you. You probably didn't hear that beep, but you're going to see this pop up that says ID card registration successful. So now users can walk up to any device in their fleet with that card and unlock a device. Very easy, simple process. These copy icons, why do you have 2 copy icons? Copy's copy. Well, remember what we said one of those challenges was, there's too many functions. I don't need to see all these functions that the device does. If I choose the quick copy icon, it's going to ask me 3 questions. Number of copies, I want 4. Color or monochrome, let's make these color. And I need it duplexed. In my opinion, those are the most common functions that users access. We have a few others here that we could unlock. You may be able to see a padlock icon there. If I wanted them to be able to change media size or mix size, a few of these I could turn on or off as well. But I like to keep this demo very simple and just say, if you're making a quick copy, here's the 3 options you're allowed to choose from. If I chose the green check mark here or press start, it's going to perform those 4 copies in color and duplex for me. Now, in the event that you do need to use one of those 9,000 other features, if they choose advanced copy, you see how it has what I call the ellipse, these 3 dots. This always is an indicator in MyQ that whatever button you're touching associated with that is going to take you to the traditional interface for that manufacturer. Where these icons that do not have the 3 dots, the ellipse, these are all MyQ functions. I'm keeping them inside the MyQ world. Just for example here, though, if I click advanced copy, it's going to enter me into the OEM interface where I can see all the different functions that this device has. And you can kind of scroll through and make your different selections. I choose home, and it's going to take me back to the MyQ window. We were talking about address books as well. We were talking about having buttons kind of predefined for the user. That's some of the other challenges. Scan to my email. Well, that's very, very self-explanatory. It tells me how I'm going to receive it, where it's going to go, and who it's going to go to. I don't have to maintain address books on the devices, though. All these icons, when I log in, I know who you are. I know your email address. I know what user groups you're a part of. That's going to be important. So you're not administering the devices locally anymore. You're not maintaining the address books on the machines. All this is done inside of MyQ so that it's easy for the end users no matter which device they go to. Let's look at some others here. Scan to folder destinations. This goes back to one of those challenges I mentioned. The address book has too many things in it. I want to show you the behind the scenes of this next, but I want to touch this button now and let you see what it shows me. It shows me finance, IT, and marketing. And we see these are just shared folder paths. These could be folder paths. These could be email addresses. These could be fax numbers. I can really put a list of anything there for the user to interact with. But I want you to pay close attention that the only fact is you see 3 items: finance, IT, and marketing. We're going to come back to that thought. Let's go back to the home screen. We've got different folders. So if we want to have multiple levels of a home screen, rather than scrolling across 4 or 5 panels, kind of like on your smartphone, you may have to swipe to get across all your different apps. We can put them inside of folders. So our different cloud destinations, for example. I have 6 configured here. Again, this is all customizable. If you don't use OneDrive, we don't show them the icon for that. If you don't use box.com, we don't show them the icon for that. I have all these turned on for demo purposes because I want to see show the breadth of the different organizations we can scan to. There's fax there as well. So I think you guys get the idea of what we're talking about here. Can be rearranged, can be customized with icons, names, colors, all of this. But I want to log out as me. I'm going to log in as another individual because I want you to see how this panel is going to change when I log in as John Doe. Now, if you were paying close attention, you'll notice the cloud folder was here when I logged in, but now it says scan to HR folder mono PDF. Robbie Morris is not a member of the HR group, so I did not see that icon. John Doe is a member of the HR group, so he sees that icon. If I come to the folder destinations button here, and I go back to the items in that list, hey, look what's there. I told you to pay attention. I only saw finance, IT, and marketing. Because John is part of the HR group, he sees additional items in this list. This is another thing I love about MyQ. 6 ways and a half a dozen other. Folks come to you and say, Robbie, we have this challenge. And said, can you solve it? I said, I've got multiple ways to solve that. Tell me more about what you want to accomplish. MyQ gives you so much flexibility to say, well, we can do it this way to meet this need, or that way to meet this need. We're not pigeonholed into, well, here's one option, that's what you got, take it or leave it, like it, figure it out. No, we have a extreme flexibility. So I could show that icon to John in 2 different ways, or that destination, excuse me. I could have it here in this list, or I could have an icon specifically for him that's already pre-configured with his settings that he prefers or that the HR group prefers. So how does all this work? Well, I'm going to come over to my web browser. And I've already logged in as the administrator. So as the administrator, I can come in and make these terminal actions settings, perform the configuration. I know this looks like a lot going on, but once you really get in here and understand it, it's very, very easy. For example, let's go back to that HR one. If I double click on this icon, here's where I name it. I put in that customized name. So what is meaningful to the end user? And I can choose how this icon appears in 2 different combinations. I can say which devices it's available at. So in this case, I wanted it all devices. Which users, in this case, the HR users. So no matter where a HR user logs in, they see this icon. We see I put in there mono PDF. If I come over to the parameters, I've already set this. You see color. If I double click on this, I've defaulted it to black and white, but I allow them to change it. So it's pre-configured as a monochrome scan, but if they need to scan in color, they're allowed to do that. The format, we have defaulted it to a PDF, and they're allowed to change that. Now, if we don't want them to, I can prohibit the change of value. And notice when I do that, this padlock is now locked or closed, where color is still unlocked. So just that easy, you can configure these buttons, destinations for the users. We were also looking at this scan to folder icon. This one, I link this to what we call a code book. So let me scroll down to my list here on the left, the navigation list. And I've got this list of items. A code book is just a list. It is a list that users interact with. And look at here. We see finance, we see HR, IT, marketing, all users, but only HR users. 6 ways and a half dozen other. So if I wanted to add a new destination for users to scan to, all I have to do is choose add, server, new folder. Let's see. Let's make it something more meaningful than that. We got finance, we got HR, we got marketing. Let's make engineering. And I'll put engineering in the title. And it's available to all users. I press OK. That item, as soon as a user logs into the panel or device, is now available to them. And just so you believe me, I'm not trying to pull a fast one on you. I'm going to log in. I'm going to click folder destination. I'm going to enter that field. And there's engineering. Didn't have to update the device. I didn't have to push anything to the device. I didn't have to clone and replicate and move. None of that. I made one entry. I pressed saved. And now for all my devices, whether it's one device or 1,000 devices, that's available to the end user, ready to go. Move out of this. Actually, let me delete that one. Save it. Okay. And I'm going to come back here to the terminal actions. We've got a few different themes already built in. Maybe you don't like this color scheme. If I come here to personalization, you can see I've added the logo for the terminal. We can add an application logo as well. It will kind of show up here in the corner. And then when they run their reports, rather than having a MyQ logo on the report, they would have the customer logo there, kind of like a letterhead type effect. That's a nice touch. These different themes. Let's see, purple piece. I'm going to double click on that one, press save, and we'll reset our terminals. But without having to go to the panel of the device, if I come back over to terminal actions, now we see it changed. Not personally my favorite, but hey, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. We also have a free utility called the MyQ theme editor, and that's where you can go in and actually put in your own custom icons, your own custom color schemes. Maybe you got a university or a hospital or a marketing agency, really anybody, where they say, you know what, I like those ones. I like the idea you have, but I really want to do my own thing. Well, you can use that and you can create your own thing. And then you can see right here where you can just press add, activate, delete, change them up. Okay, so that covered a lot of what we wanted to look through today. Let's see, we talked about that. I'm just checking my notes, make sure I covered everything I wanted to talk to you about. We talked about that, we talked about that, we talked about that. We did. We covered everything I wanted to talk about very quick today. One last item before we go into Q&A and before we do our little review quiz. I did want to show you the MyQ showcase as well. Now, I'm going to copy this link and I'm going to put it into the chat window. I'll share it with everyone. Oh, here's one message in the chat that says Q&A is not set up. Let me see. Make sure it's enabled. It looks like Q&A looks like it's enabled on my side. So sorry for that one individual. If you're not able to do it, I don't know what's going on with that. Back to the MyQ showcase. This is a web page, publicly accessible. All you need is the URL that I put into the chat window. So if you're doing a discovery with a customer, maybe you're talking to them about how you can customize the panel of the machine, but you need a tool to help you. Well, one is contacting us at MyQ. We will do demos for you. That's our job. Our job's here to help you get the ball across the goal line. That's why we're doing this meeting today. In the meantime, if you want something quick and easy, go to showcase.myq-solution.com. You scroll down and you can see a little video here. You can click on the mobile phone and see the mobile app. You can see some of our BLI awards. The one we're interested in today, though, is the panel of the device. If I click on that, it's going to open a new tab for me. And here's a little help guide that kind of walks you through and tells you how to use this. I'm going to skip over it because I've already done this, but you can always access it there again. Clicking on Lucy. We've got a couple predefined PIN numbers, 11, 22, 33, 44, 55. So if I log in as 11, here's an example of James from the finance department. And here's how we have this one kind of set up. You can see like easy copy adjustable versus easy copy, easy scan adjustable. If I log out and log in as 22, now we see Mark the CEO. Mark the CEO has a very simple user interface versus James had much more interactive ones. So all the different little scenarios are laid out there for you, and they kind of walk you through that in that help guide that I skipped over. But the Showcase is a nice handy tool on the fly, so to speak. So showcase.myq-solution.com and just click on the panel of the device and it'll take you to a live web page demonstration that you can use. Okay. Let me stop sharing my screen. I don't see any questions in the Q&A yet, but I will look over in the chat window also. Let's see. Hope the Q&A is working well for everyone, but if not, we can use the chat window if I need to. Here's a question in the chat window. Is scan to Google Drive goes directly to the drive or it has to reside in the server? So it's a direct connection using the scan to cloud services. The way that is going to work, it's MyQ performs the scan at the panel of the device. It sends that to the MyQ server, which then sends it to the user's cloud storage destination. Depending on which manufacturers you're working with, some manufacturers, we can actually allow you to browse the folder structure at the panel of the device. Some manufacturers, it's just going to put it into the root of their cloud storage in a folder called MyQ. As we're updating our terminal for different manufacturers into what we call version 10 of the terminal, we're adding that capability where you can have the scan to folder and choose the destination. So that's a nice enhancement, just depends on which manufacturers you're working with. Does the customization work in Roger as well? So MyQ Roger, that's a separate subscription style service, separate product offering we have. Today we're focused on MyQX, but MyQ Roger is kind of what we place as a digital workplace assistant. It's really driven by the end user through their mobile device. And yes, it does allow the user to do very similar functions where they create their scan destinations. Kind of the contrast between the two, where in MyQX, the administrator is really defining, here's what your terminal is going to look like. With MyQ Roger, the end user is making more of those settings and personalizations themselves. Will this connect to back-end software such as accounting or law firm software? We have the ability to import and export reports. You can do those on a schedule. So if you want to have a report generated as a CSV file, which is very common for sending data between two different applications, we can put that on a schedule where it sends it as an email attachment, or we can put it into a folder, and then those software backends can grab it, pick it up, and move it into their system. Really, the only thing that comes up most often is making sure it's properly formatted for that system because each one has their own unique import-export processes. If it goes beyond what the standard reporting capability can do, generally we can write a custom script that's going to handle something like that. give it just a second, see if anyone puts another question into the chat window or Q&A. Here's one in the Q&A, so it is working. Okay, good. Are there examples of the customized button and the logo that you can show us? I don't have any pre-configured, like using a custom icon. I didn't do any of those for today. I could do that as a follow-up item for you. I can send you a couple screenshots or something like that. Again, you've got the showcase where you can go in and see some demos of that, but I'd be happy to do that as a follow-up item for you. A couple of coming into the chat window, it looks like. We're going to answer just a few more, and then we will go into our little review, and then we can answer additional questions after that. Here's a question. Does OCR work without installing the manufacturer's OCR? In this case, they're referring to a Kyocera device, what's called the Scan Extension Kit. Yes, so MyQ has a complementary OCR function. It requires no licensing from the particular OEM or any manufacturer. We will generate a searchable PDF complementary. If you're looking for additional file formats like convert to Word, convert to Excel, things like that, we have MyQ Ultimate, which is MyQ X, which you've seen today. And we partner with a company called Scanner Vision. We marry the two products together, and that is called MyQ Ultimate. So that gives us the advanced capture, advanced workflow capabilities for document processing. Are there plans in future for desktop printers to have built-in fob release with card readers rather than pen release only? There is, and there is some of that functionality now. That really boils down to the particular manufacturer that you're working with, whether or not we can place a card reader on the device, or if it's using numeric pad. So in that case, I'd say reach out to me individually. We can have one-on-one on that one and look at specifically what manufacturers you're representing and which models of those manufacturers you're looking at. And then I can tell you whether or not a card reader will work with those devices or a numeric pad, something like that. But that capability does exist, yes. All right, I don't see anything else in the Q&A window right now. And those were everything in the chat window that I've seen. So let me share with you the Mentimeter app. So get your phones out, or if you're attending through a web browser, you can do it that way as well. We're going to have a quick little review session. Good time to make sure your screen timeout is off on your phone. You don't want that to throw you off here. Let's start sharing customized panel experience. Takes a second for this to load. It's a third-party website, so we just have to get it queued up. All righty, so it should be loading for you guys right now. Top 3 contestants will have a donation made to a charitable organization of their choice. Very important on the next step here. Advance the slide for you. When I move to the next screen, it's going to prompt you to put in your name. Please put in your first and last name. That way I know how to get in touch with you and find out which organization you would like MyQ to make a donation to on your behalf. So on the next screen, you're going to see a window that asks you to input your name. You're going to press Join Quiz. Get ready at that point. If you're using your phone, don't let your phone go to sleep, or you may miss the opportunity to respond. So this is all for fun. There's going to be 5 questions. After 3 questions, we'll see the leaderboard to see how everyone stacks up, and then you'll have 2 more questions after that. There's 4 true or false questions. Read them carefully, and then there's 1 multiple choice question. All righty, let's get started. All right, question 1 of 5. I've got 56 players ready to go. All right. Here we go. It's going to present the question to you. You're going to have, I think, about 5 seconds to read the question, and then it's going to prompt you for your response. The faster you respond, the quicker you get more points, which will help your ranking. All right, get ready. Here we go. First question coming up. True or false? A customer logo can be added to the MyQ login screen. "15 seconds to answer, 5 seconds to go." Get that answer in quick. The correct answer is true. A customer logo can be added to the MyQ login screen. That's why I said your logo here. All right, let's move forward. Next question. Get ready. True or false? The text on the terminal actions icons cannot be customized. True or false? Read it carefully. Five seconds to go. False. The icons can have customized text. That's where I had the scan to HR, PDF, monochrome. We can label those buttons anything we want the text on them to say. All right, let's go next question. Here it comes. Terminal actions can be shown or hidden based on which of the following criteria? Only based on device, only by the user or group, or by device and or user group. So think about that when I showed you that HR folder icon. There we go. A lot of you got that one. By device and or user group. We showed how it could be printers. It was labeled printers. We had it at all devices, and then it had rights, and we said HR. So it can be and or devices and the user groups. Let's see who's in the lead. Here's our leaderboard coming up. Who answered that last one the fastest and who's in the top right now? Vince answered that one the fastest. Matt is in the lead by a couple points, very close. All right, let's move on to the next one. Two more to go. True or false? The MyQ administrator can rearrange the terminal action icons. Can they be moved around? Yes or no? True or false? Oh man, couldn't trick you guys on that one. Yes, those icons can be rearranged. All right, last question. Another true or false. Read it carefully. Terminal actions cannot have predefined scan settings, i.e. color, monochrome, resolution, file type. They cannot have predefined scan settings. True or false? The answer is false. Showed you that HR one, how I had it set as a monochrome PDF, but then the users could change that also. So their predefined scan settings already there. All right, let's see. Let's look at our leaderboard, see who the top ones were coming in here. All right, Matt, Art, and Vince, our top three. Thank you guys for playing along today. Thank you for attending. I'm going to close this portion. I saw a few more questions like chats popping through. I'm going to look at those. For our top three, I'm going to reach out to you guys via email to get your feedback on which organization you would like MyQ to make a donation to on your behalf. So be thinking about that. You don't have to answer right away. If you want to answer me next week, not a problem at all. So let me stop sharing this. Let me go back to the Q&A and just see if anything popped in. To post, yep, okay. All righty, yep, I see that. In the chat window, let me double check that one. Looks like I don't see anything else in the chat window. And one last chance, going once, going twice, going 3 times sold on the Q&A. Nothing there. Okay. Well, I thank all of you for taking time out of your day to join. I hope you look forward to these future meetings as well. Again, it's going to be the second Friday every month, 11 a.m. Eastern. Look on LinkedIn, look for our email from headquarters, and then we'll be sending out additional messages as well. So thank you guys. Appreciate it.